Hello everyone, welcome to another YouTube video, and this time we are not going to talk about Vampire the Masquerade. I know, it's been a long time, right? But there's a very important occasion for which I'm making this particular video, the release of the teaser trailer of Witcher Netflix series. Something we've all been waiting for, or a lot of us been waiting for, some with a lot of expectations, some with a lot of distance, or maybe even skepticism. We've seen some teasers already with Henry Cavill shown as Geralt in very short video snippets, and also we've seen how Yennefer is going to look like and how young Ciri is going to look like too. But this is finally something that we've been waiting for, scenes from the actual series and the lore and the knowledge and the freaking story and all the characters, the most important ones, shown in their full glory. So I feel I should show you my reaction and I should try to analyze it live for you to give you a glimpse on the lore behind what's going on in the series. I care for it deeply and I really want it to be shown nicely. I did have a lot of skepticism on how Netflix is going to handle it, and my final reaction and review of the trailer I'm going to give you at the end. But as for now, I will show you the teaser trailer, show you my reaction to it, and give you the first information on what exactly are we seeing on the screen. Now, a few disclaimers. First of all, this video is going to contain some spoilers. I'm not going to spoil the whole Witcher story, and I'm not talking about video games, because books, they talk about some different things, okay? I'm going to purposefully leave some details though, so you can actually uncover them yourself. Because I feel like there are still some of you guys who haven't read the books and still want to watch this video and then enjoy the series. So yeah, I'm going to leave some of the stuff. Additionally, one thing that really tilts me off, although I'm skeptical towards the series as well, and I did have some criticism about the previous teasers and how Henry was looking like and how Yennefer was looking like, very important thing to really switch your brain to a new mode when you're watching stuff from Netflix. This is not going to look like the video game. The series is based on books only. They are scrapping off everything that you guys may remember from the video game, so you have to adjust your expectations towards that. The game had its own vision and Netflix is going to have their own, which might be fun or not, we'll see. But they are totally different mediums telling totally different stories, and we gotta remember about that. Alright, so without further ado, let's go and watch the teaser trailer.
I remember hearing stories about witches. Is it true what they say?
Elves are the original sorcerers of the continent. When humans and monsters arrived, elves taught humans how to turn chaos into magic. And then the humans slaughtered them.
Chaos is the most dangerous thing in this world. But without control, chaos will kill you.
So that's all life is to you? Monsters and money?
It's all it needs to be.
Something out there?
Can I just pause here for a second? Cavill! Why? He's so puff, okay? He's the most puffed pufferfish on the puffing planet. It's not really bad, okay? Like, Geralt also would have muscles like these, but it just, for me, looks hilarious for some reason. I don't really know why, but it's so funny.
All it needs to be.
Something out there waits for you.
This child will be extraordinary.
Yennefer, imagine the most powerful woman in the world. Do you have what it takes?
Nilfgaard are here. She's why they came. You can't outrun destiny just because you're terrified of it. It's coming. Fight Geralt of Rivia.
I can't do this without you.
No matter what you choose, you'll come out bloody.
Fuck yeah! Alright. So that was the teaser trailer for those of you guys who haven't been able to see it before. And holy crap. Okay, so there's a lot to talk about. First of all, as someone who read the books and knows the lore, and of course I'm not like the super huge expert on it, and I can make some mistakes, especially when I'm trying to speak some of the names in English, because I'm not really sure about the correct translations. I read the books in Polish. But yeah, first of all, I feel like this trailer is doing one thing incredibly right, and that thing is establishing the world and giving people who have absolutely no connection to the series whatsoever a first glimpse of what exactly the world of Geralt of Rivia is. The very beginning of the trailer, which talks about the chaos and the beginning of magic and the history of magic and elves and humans, is a very good short setup, short pitch of what exactly are we going to expect from this world. It's like throwing you into this whole new fantasy setting and telling you exactly this is what happened here and this is what we have to deal with. Then it also sets up the character of Geralt in this world very well. Because who exactly is Geralt? Geralt is a witcher who, as one of the sorceresses there tells him, only cares about money and monsters, and these are the only things that matter to him, he says. But then the rest of the trailer shows you how Geralt is apparently tied with some destiny or whatever, with some other bigger things for him. This trailer talks about the most important parts of the Witcher lore. You cannot run away from your destiny no matter how hard you try, and you gotta fulfill it eventually, and that's what Geralt will have to probably do. It's not only about killing the monsters and being a cool big puffed dude in the puff world with his puff swords. I'm sorry, it's so funny. But it is about that destiny and everything in between, and I feel like this is pretty well established. Now about the general look of it, starting from that, because I guess this is what people have the most complaints about. Cavill, I think he looks okay as Geralt. Again, when he was shirtless, it really made me cackle. But just because, I don't know, I found overly muscular guys funny. Maybe it's just my quirk, I'm sorry. But yeah, his whole characterization seems to be pretty decent. I am okay with his hair, although a lot of people are saying this is a horrible wig. I think it's okay. His medallion looks different than it does in the game, and that's what a lot of people are saying is a big mistake, which, again, it was never described in such a detail in the book, and this pretty much looks like it should look like if you only base it on the book. Although I personally also prefer the design from the video game, I feel like, again, this is not something we should discuss. Game and Netflix series is something totally different. They had their own interpretation, and it's not too bad. Now, what a lot of people are putting against the series is how apparently this trailer doesn't look Slavic enough. And I could agree, because you can barely see any landscapes or cities or architecture or even clothes that do look Slavic per se. And that's kind of remind me of my own personal culture, which was a major point when I was reading Witcher originally. But then when you think about it, well, the whole Witcher book is very much based on various folkloric tales from all around Europe. And it's more of a fairy tale, which is not really connected to a particular land, except for the fact that the author is Polish. It's more European universal, I would say. So the setting is very much European, which I guess also is visible in this trailer. But the particular Slavic vibes are, of course, they are present in the book per se, but yeah, I couldn't see them much in the trailer itself. I would love to see some little Slavic wings in the series. I'm not putting this super against the show, but it's something that I would love to see. I know I said that I shouldn't come back to the game and we shouldn't compare to the games, but what I really loved about Witcher 1 is how Polish it felt. When I was playing Witcher 1 and I was going through those dark, grey, sad towns and sad forests with very poor foliage and everything, it kind of felt like Poland. And then I played Witcher 2, which was all about fantasy and bright lights and great foliage and everything, and I was like, that's not it anymore. So yeah, I would love to see some more little winks to my personal culture, obviously, but yeah, it's not like a huge disadvantage for me so far from what I've seen. Now we gotta talk about the lore itself and the story that this trailer is trying to convey. And I'm extremely happy to see how much of an impact is put on showing the history of Yennefer. Yennefer, which you can see right in front of you right now. I know it might be a shocker, but wait, I am going to explain. First of all, a little tweet from Lauren S. Hisrich, who is working on the series, and she was doing the Q&A on Twitter where she was answering a lot of questions, and she said specifically, "We're definitely diving into Yennefer's past. For one reason, I wanted to know who she was. The complicated and messy and vulnerable and scared girl before she became the powerful and stunning Yennefer we know and love. And also, one more important tweet from her, you'll see so much that happens between the lines of the book. Because the book never really shows you straight the past of Yennefer. It is being given in some glimpses of her past, which she mentions. Or Geralt is seeing that through her magical visage, but it never really is explained in full. And the series is going to try its best to fill those little in-between lines and show you her story, which I heckin' love. I'm not yet fully sold on the actress that they picked for the role of Yennefer, but I hope this will change after I will see her in action in the series. But here comes the story of what you actually see in here. See, Yennefer originally was a daughter of the half-elven woman and the human male, and she was born with a hunchback. She was deformed, ugly, and her father really didn't want to have a daughter like that. He blamed it on the elven blood of her mother, saying that the blood is tainted and it makes her breed monsters. And he left the family, leaving poor half-elven woman who was Yennefer's mom alone and without the ability to raise her daughter. So she has given her up to the school of sorceresses, where Yennefer was taken care of by her master or mistress, Tisaya de Vries, whose real name was Lark or Skowronek in Polish, you know, the little bird. Tisaya de Vries is actually, I think, visible in few scenes in this trailer. I'm quite sure this is her, for example. And this is also her when she's trying to talk to Yennefer and tell her that there is a hidden power in Yen, which she is going to get out of her. And she's going to make her the most powerful woman in the world. There's one very important scene to the lore of Yennefer in this teaser trailer. And that is this scene, the scene of Yennefer breaking the mirror. Because of her whole life, the family and everything got ruined because of how she looked like. She really hated herself. And her self-hatred actually pushed her to a suicide attempt, from which Tisaya saved her. With the famous words which are actually repeated in the video game. When Yennefer, I think, is talking to Ciri, I don't remember, but there was a moment when these words were used as well. There is nothing as ugly as a crying sorceress. Tisaya, after saving Yennefer from her suicide attempt, actually healed her hunchback, made her more beautiful, although still Yennefer never actually reached that levels of beauty that some other sorceresses could, like for example Triss Merigold. There was always something off about her appearance, but she was able to hide it with her magic, like most of the sorceresses do. They are actually very old in real life, but they hide their old skin behind the spells that make them look 20-something again. And with the special ointment called the Glamouri or Glamour, an ointment with a very special smell that often surrounds Yennefer, is something that she was using on herself a lot to make her look more beautiful to others. And you may think that Geralt always thought that Yennefer is this beautiful woman you know from Witcher 3. He didn't. He actually saw through her veil very early. He noticed how one of her arms is a little bit higher than the other, how there are some things about her face, although hidden under magical spells, that he could distinguish how she looked like in the past. But this didn't stop him from loving her. A story of Geralt and Yennefer's relationship is told in the story called The Last Wish, and involves a genie who actually gives free wishes to Geralt. I'm not going to give you the details because that story is big and complicated, but this is a story in which Geralt met Yennefer first, so I'm quite sure it's going to be shown in the series. And it involves Geralt saying a wish, which was never, I think, spoken out loud in the book itself. I don't think we exactly know what Geralt told the genie, but whatever he told, it tied the destinies of Yennefer and Geralt together forever, making all the playthroughs of Witcher games where you pick Shani or Triss non-canon. I'm sorry. They are supposed to be together because of this magical tie, and the story of this tie is for sure going to be shown in the series. Now, the second thing the trailer is putting the emphasis on is the story of Ciri. And I feel like the show is really going to focus on showing you the true meaning of the law of surprise. The law that bound Ciri and Geralt's destinies together, similar to how his destiny is bound to Yennefer, is the law which bases on cultural tradition about reward giving in the world of The Witcher, where you can say to someone that owes you something that they will owe you the first thing that comes to greet them, or something that they find at home that they don't know they have. or something that they find at home that they didn't expect. The first promise that you will give me something that will come and greet you first usually ends up with you getting a dog or maybe a guard or a servant or a wife sometimes, who knows. And the second, the thing that you don't really expect to find, very often results with a child. And Geralt used this particular little surprise willingly, knowing already that Pavera, the mom of Ciri, is pregnant. But you need to hear a little bit more of that story first, because I believe there is one scene in this trailer which shows the events before Ciri was born. And that is this particular scene. You may think that the woman in green is Ciri. Well, I don't think so. This scene looks to me like the 15th birthday feast of Pavera, mom of Ciri, to which Geralt was invited as a guest. It was a tradition that during the 15th birthday of a woman in a royal family, there are going to be contenders for her hand invited, and they're going to decide who is she going to marry. And during this particular feast, a man with a helmet on his head entered an uninvited guest, calling himself the Urkian of Erlenwold. And this mysterious Urkian guy said that apparently because he saved the life of her father back in the days, and the father promised him a reward based on the law of surprise, based on that law, they should marry. And Pavera was very much into it, surprisingly. It was later revealed that they had a romance for a long time by this time, which I know might be creepy because she was 15. Yeah, let's just not talk about the age. The events of this feast itself were very chaotic because people were protesting against Urkian marrying Pavera, and finally, although he really protested against it, Calanthe, mother of Pavera, she forced Urkian to remove his helmet and show his face. And when he did it, everyone gasped because his face looked like a beast. He had whiskers, he had a snout, he was covered in fur. So after the other contenders to the hand of Pavera saw this, they all attacked him. And that's when Pavera protected her lover with this amazing primordial force that she released from herself. Her hidden magic getting out, almost destroying the castle. Fortunately, Geralt was there and managed to stop her before something serious happened. And he helped her reunite with her lover, who after approaching Pavera in the end, his whole features, the animalistic features, they disappeared, showed a beautiful, handsome man who was apparently called Duny, something like that. And that's when Duny asked Geralt what he wants back for his help. And Geralt, already knowing that Pavera is pregnant, demanded a law of surprise. He wanted something that the man didn't expect to have. And he wanted the child of Pavera to become a witcher. So that was his wish. I don't really remember what exactly was the reasoning behind it, but I believe it's because he assumed it could be a boy, and the child of such a couple in a royal family would probably cause a lot of horrible things politically. So by making him a witcher, they would avoid all this mess in the future. I think that was his reasoning because it sounds pretty logical, but I don't really remember, so correct me if I'm wrong. But the child of surprise that was born was actually Ciri. And yeah, she got tied to Geralt forever because of this law of surprise. Later on, parents of Ciri, Pavera and Dany, they die in a shipwreck on the sea, and Calanthe, grandmother of Ciri, is taking care of her. That's when two another things from this trailer come into light. First of all, Nilfgaard attacking Sintra. I think this woman in the armor in here is also Calanthe. You can say that because of the little lions of Sintra on her chest, and she was also fighting in the battles herself against Nilfgaard. But unfortunately, eventually, after the overwhelming power of Nilfgaard attacked Sintra, Calanthe was forced to commit suicide to avoid the horrible death from the hands of the Attica. The scene I showed previously, the one when she was talking to Ciri and telling her to find Witcher, never actually happened, so that's something that I don't really like, because Ciri was supposed to be tied with Geralt by the destiny, and they found each other completely out of the blue. But yeah, I guess they changed some little parts of the lore in the series to make it more understandable for people who only watch and didn't read. So what happened in the book is that Calanthe sent Ciri to Verdun to marry a prince that was there, or the political union that they were supposed to have. And Ciri, of course, being the little rebel girl she was, she ran away to Brokilon. Brokilon being the famous forest of death and the house of dryads. Dryads are these humanoid creatures that you can see around Ciri in the scene. Dryads basically look like young, beautiful women, and they form these strict female societies, communities inside the forest where they protect it, and they use human males to breed and to make more dryads, or they sometimes also steal the little girls from the surrounding villages and they make them into dryads by feeding them the water of Brokilon. After you drink this water for some time, you forget about your human past, your human life, and you become one of the dryads. So this fate is probably something that was going to happen to Ciri if she stood there without the intervention of Geralt, who, because of the destiny tying them, found her there, saved her first from monsters and then from the dryads, and let her out of the Brokilon safely. I think what happens in this series is going to be a little bit different. I don't think the whole motive of the marriage in between Ciri and Prince Kirstein is going to be mentioned. I feel like she is going to go to Brokilon to look for Geralt. She's going to somehow land up there because she will be looking for him, and yeah. That's what I feel after what Kalanta tells Ciri in this trailer. So yeah, it seems like the season 1 of Witcher Netflix series is going to convey few stories at once. First, the story of Yennefer and how she evolved from this hunchback girl into a beautiful sorceress. The story of Geralt of Rivia, who really wants to be just a killer of monsters and get that coin, but because of the heckin' destiny, he's being tied to the bigger events in the country's world, and he's being tied to these two beautiful women. And third, the story of Ciri, including what happened before she was born during the feast of Pavera's 15th birthday. So we are going to be shown the whole scene of Law of Surprise, we're going to probably be shown the whole scene of The Last Wish, the most important parts of the first book. We're going to see how Witcher met Yennefer, we're going to see how Witcher saved Ciri from Brokilon. Honestly, seeing this trailer and thinking about this lore, I feel like it's really decent. The things we've seen so far, of course, it's not going to be completely up to our expectations in terms of how we imagine this world ourselves when we read or after we play the games, but it's not too bad. It's actually looking like pretty decent fantasy series, and we haven't had any in a long time. I mean, yeah, Game of Thrones, I guess, if you don't count the last season. But nevertheless, I am okay with this. I have some little small remarks here and there that I want some things to be done differently. Again, I'm not really sure about the Yennefer's actress. Not really sure about the lack of Slavic elements that I see around in there. Not sure about Cavill's muscles, but that's just my personal pet peeve. But except for that, I feel like it looks good so far, and I really hope the series is going to be good as a whole. So that's it, guys. That was my analysis of the trailer. I omitted few things because I didn't want you guys to get spoiled too much. There are some little scenes in this trailer which show events that happen more further in the future, but as far as I know, the book's going that far, not going to be conveyed in the season 1, so I'm not going to go so much far ahead. All I wanted to do is give you a little bit of the glimpse on the lore and hopefully yet again fuel you with hype for something new which doesn't look too bad. So that's it. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me, and let's see each other in other videos, Vampire the Masquerade related ones and another ones. Thank you so much and see you later. Bye!